Skill-based matchmaking has ruined Call of Duty. The haters will say COD is the same, the players are just better now, and you're just old and can't compete anymore. Skill issue! That's how I read that comment. This is the take of players who truly suck and probably never played before Modern Warfare 2019, when strict skill-based matchmaking truly took over Call of Duty. The reason this is such a hot topic again is because the Black Ops 6 beta showed us how sweaty and strict the skill-based matchmaking will be again this year. Most players could tell from just playing themselves, but Nero Cinema did a more concrete test by creating a brand new account and launching up the beta where everyone could easily tell the difference from an average lobby. There was no booty sliding around the map or dolphin diving in every chance they got. The players barely knew how to walk. In theory, strict skill-based matchmaking sounds good, so you can protect players like these, but it doesn't work and ruins casual shooters like Call of Duty is supposed to be. The argument for skill-based matchmaking is it protects casuals, but that simply isn't true because players will purposely play bad just to get a horrible KD so they can get placed into noob lobbies on purpose, just to get easy games for nukes or make themselves look better than they are. And that makes it so the casual players suffer because of the lame bum reverse boosting players. Then they act like the bot lobbies are competing for $1 million. But this isn't the only way casual players get hurt. If an okay player has a good game or two where they get over a 2 KD and go, let's say 20-7, which isn't even that good, skill-based matchmaking will guarantee they won't play that well the rest of the night by throwing them into lobbies that are too good for them, because somehow those games will make Call of Duty think he is good enough to compete with scum. Skill-based matchmaking rewards players for doing bad and punishes them for doing good. Before skill-based matchmaking, Call of Duty players could tell if they were getting better by seeing their performance improve over time. My very first Call of Duty multiplayer was COD 4, and I had a .55 KD and was 3,000 kills negative, but by the end of COD 4, I had a 1.5 KD from playing and getting better. It was actually a 1.47. Just let me round up, thanks. Now Call of Duty players have an unquenchable thirst to get better because you never feel like you improve anymore. Because anytime you do any better at all, you're going to get thrown into lobbies with players far better than you, and you're going to go back to doing bad, making it work even harder to get better. It's a never-ending chase that makes players only want to use the meta weapons with the perfect builds and perks that every YouTuber will make within an hour of Black Ops 6 releasing or within an hour of a season update. That's why the first weekend of the beta had everyone only using the Jackal PDW, even though the stats didn't count. A beta is a time when people should be trying out everything, but people just wanted to get the first nuke. Skill-based matchmaking is ruining Call of Duty because it's turning a casual arcade shooter into a competitive mess. Before skill-based matchmaking, we just became good. But now no one gets better because you'll get thrown into lobbies with players way better than you as soon as you do anything good. The game just punishes you. What Call of Duty's matchmaking is doing doesn't even sound like it's skill-based to me. If you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button. It lets me know you want to see more videos. Thank you, bosses. In games without skill-based matchmaking, you can actually tell when you're getting better. For example, XDefiant makes it extremely easy to tell if you're improving because every single lobby you find is connection-based, making it random. Sometimes you'll go against sweaty players, but it isn't because you just had a good game. And I already know because I brought up XDefiant, the trolls will say, if skill-based matchmaking is so good, why is XDefiant dying and Call of Duty is doing just fine? And I'm happy you brought up that question. The answer is simple. XDefiant's issues have nothing to do with skill-based matchmaking. XDefiant's issues have to do with the fact that it has added almost no content since launch and has a poor netcode. And Call of Duty has a huge fan base that started forming in 2003 with the first Call of Duty. Many people have just got into the habit of playing COD as their FPS game, and they're never going to change off of it. I know a lot of my friends don't try new video games and just play the same ones over and over again, like Call of Duty, 2K, and Madden. And they refuse to try out games even if they're free like XDefiant. People who actually played XDefiant did not think that the no skill-based matchmaking is the problem. People just don't want to admit that without skill-based matchmaking, they're trash. And to prove this point, I'm going to be showing off the KDs of myself and my friends in multiplayer and Warzone to show off the difference in skill level and how strict skill-based matchmaking works. This will allow me to make 2 points at the end of this. I'm going to be showing off the Warzone KDs first because that is the mode my friends care about the most now, where we actually try to win and do well while having fun. What you're going to notice is we have a mix of skill level in my friend group. You're going to see at the top we have Love Pilly with a 3.88 KD on 14,000 kills. And we have me and my friend Brian both in the same ballpark with over 2 KDs. Then I have some decent to slightly above average friends with a little over 1 KDs. And then all the way at the bottom, we have Moose with a .62. He's never been good at FPS games. His video game skills are within Madden, Minecraft, and Rocket League, but he'll play Call of Duty because we are. And while Warzone has some pretty strong skill-based matchmaking, it's not as strong as multiplayers. When I play with Pilly, I get lobbies that are generally more difficult, but because there's over 100 players per match, they can't find an entire lobby of the same skill group, so there's still going to be people with .7 KDs in there. So the average KD of games I get while I play with Pilly are usually between 1.1 to 1.4, and the lobbies I get with my 1 KD friends are generally more like 0.9 to 1.2. And this is clearly not the same level of skill-based matchmaking that multiplayer has. And before I show off the multiplayer KDs, who do you think will have the highest KD out of the 6 people I showed you? I'll give you a second to think. Alright, if you said Moose, you were right at a 1.25 KD, and I don't want to be rude to my friend, but he can't move very well, and he can't aim very well either, but he somehow has nearly a 0.2 higher KD than Pilly in multiplayer. So we have a 3.88 to 0.62 in Warzone, compared to a 106 to 125 KD in multiplayer. I don't know if there's anything more wild than that. To be clear, me and my friends do not care about our multiplayer KDs anymore, and just like to get camos and mess around, but in no world should any of my friends have a worse KD than Moose in Call of Duty, but we do because he refuses to play multiplayer with me or any of my more skilled friends because our lobbies are awful. Even though my KD is low at a 1.12 in multiplayer, I still get in bad lobbies where people only use the meta builds and weapons that come out 30 minutes after every update because Call of Duty can still tell I'm good even though I'm not trying. If I play with Pilly who has a worse KD than me, I can tell his lobbies are worse than mine. So I understand why Moose and my other lower level friends refuse to play multiplayer with me because they can't handle the sweaty level of matches. Trust me, I don't want to deal with them either. Strict skill-based matchmaking makes it so friends won't play with friends, and that's something video games should never do. Multiplayer games are made for friends to hang out. Many of the people I know have moved all over the country, and one of the easiest ways for us to still talk and hang out is through gaming, and Call of Duty has always been a big part of that. But strict skill-based matchmaking has ruined that for many friend groups, including mine. And almost 86% of you watching aren't subscribed. So please hit that button if you enjoy the content. I really appreciate it. Now let's bring the focus back to Black Ops 6 because that's what made this whole video happen. I want to discuss why I think Omni Movement is good for casual players and makes strict skill-based matchmaking even worse. The reason Treyarch added in this new movement was to help even out the playing field. Movement has always had some importance in Call of Duty with drop shotting, jump shotting, and moving in and out of cover, but it became a huge focal point with Modern Warfare 2019 with the addition of slide canceling. Sure, jetpack CODs made it important, but it has never been bigger than it is right now. Call of Duty used to be all about the gun skill, but for players who could never hit their shots, the additions of movement help lower the skill gap for them by allowing them to make people miss their shots by mastering movement. With Omni Movement, there will be people who are better at it and can do crazy stuff with it, but you won't need to master it in order to take advantage of it. The lower skill players will still have a fighting chance with Omni Movement because the movement will be so much harder to predict. This will allow the more casual player a better chance to compete even without sliding and diving. They can still sprint left, right, forward, backwards, which completely changes the game with gunfights. And Call of Duty is already a game with a lower skill gap than most because of the super fast time to kills. It's meant to be a casual first-person shooter game for messing around and having fun. Strict skill-based matchmaking has turned the game into a sweaty competitive mess just for people to try and do alright. At the end of the day, all newer COD titles have ranked play, where players are supposed to compete hard to try and win and improve their rank to go against more difficult competition to prove that they're the best. That is what skill-based matchmaking is meant for. And the main problem is that public matches feel exactly the same. People try their hardest to dominate, but with no reward for doing so. So what is the point of having ranked and public matches if they feel the same and nothing is different? The reason newer Call of Duty multiplayers aren't as popular isn't because of nostalgia. It is because of strict skill-based matchmaking. Black Ops 2, the most popular Call of Duty, had the best ranked play ever and had public matches with very light skill-based matchmaking, which is why both modes were loved. And I'd love to hear your respectful opinions in the comments on skill-based matchmaking. And if you want to see the best Call of Duty tier list ever, click here. Peace.